Welcome to an IronCAD tutorial from Too Tall Toby's practice models. This is dated July 7th, a Toy Bit 3. This model is an interesting model, so it basically comprises of a polygon here at the bottom that has a height value of 92 for the hex side of things, and then it has dimensions from the bottom up to the top. So we have a cylindrical piece here, a cone, and then we have some pieces up here that also carry this outside smoothness here, so it's got to have a curved shape on this. So we'll show you how to do this in IronCAD, and it also has a countersink here that we'll add on that with a spherical top to that. So we'll just show you how to build this in IronCAD. The only thing we really need to do from a sketch standpoint is to edit some angles for our kind of rib feature up here at the top for this 35. Other than that, everything else can be drag and drop features here, and just some draft faces here to get this 120 degree angle here for this on that shape. So we'll go ahead and show you how to do this in IronCAD. So first we're going to start off with that polygon. So you can go to our polygon folder, you can drag and drop the folder out or go inside of it. We have a number of ones in here that you can start with. You can start with this one and edit the variables, or just use some of the general shapes. So if in our case it's a hexagon, we'll just drag and drop that out. And we know the width here, so from the flat face to flat face, sorry, is 42. So we'll just go ahead and type in that value, and that gives us our starting point. And we know the height of this is 60 from there. So we'll go ahead and get that as our starting point for our shape. Next, we'll just go ahead and drag and drop a cylinder right in the center of this part. And we know it has a diameter of 33 inside of there. So I cleared that out, sorry. I believe it has a diameter of 33 for that. And again, it's always from the bottom, so you can right click on these handles and edit distance from point to get to the bottom here. In our case, this is 133 from that bottom. So that's our starting point there. So what we're going to do next is we'll go ahead and add this draft here while we're working on this. So in our features, we have a draft face, and what we're going to do is a parting line draft in this case, because we're going to use this as the parting line edge, and we're going to use this as our draft face. Then we can select our parting line, which is that edge, and it's going to give you two directions. This is along the same pull direction or along that direction. You can see that it's going down that way. In this case, it needs to be 60 degrees to give us the total distance from this vertical edge to be that 120. So if we go ahead at that and hit tab, you can see that preview give you the shape there, and hit OK to apply that. So that will give you that nice curved shape there along the cylinder for us. So that's a nice easy way to do that. Next, we're going to go ahead and add this cone shape here at the top, and to do that we have some additional catalogs. Again, you can go to our shape catalog. We have a bunch of different shapes inside of here, and one of those is a part cone. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that, and you can drag and drop that on the top. And again, that has a diameter of 33, so you can just go ahead and type that as a top diameter, and the height of this from there is basically 20. So let's see, that's right, 20, 40 from there. So you can just double click that, set that to 40. That gives you your height. So one of the other dimensions that gives you this is supposed to be 5. So we can edit. We do need to edit the cross section there, and don't worry about the dialog. It's just telling you that there's variables tied to this. What we want to do is set this curve here. You can do it from the dimension, or you can right click and say curve properties. We want that value to be 5, so that length of that curve. So we don't care about the angle, we just make sure that that stays where it was. That comes up there. That gives us our value for that. So that gives us a starting point here for our next shape, which is the portions of this rib. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with an extrude. I'm going to drop that out, and we know the width of that is 5 inches for what they call a fin. And we can just drag and drop this down to this point here, and we can leave it outside here, doesn't really matter, or if you like, you can go ahead and right click and set it to 33 to symmetrically set that, and either one's okay. In this case, this value here is 20 millimeters. If you look at the dimensions on the drawing, it's 133 to 153, so it's 20 millimeters high. So we can just go ahead and double click that and set that to 20 to get that in place. Next, we need to do a rib here, because we're going to get this next shape here. So again, in our catalog, if you scroll down, you'll see the rib shape. I'll just drop it on here, and it'll scale it down if I'm zoomed in or whatnot. It doesn't really matter in this case, because I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees here, or negative 90 degrees in this case, and then I can just use this handle here to snap that directly to our side there and here. So what we need to do now is we need to edit that cross section again, because we do need to have this angle set here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this value out, and you can see this can continue to grow. And what we're going to do is set this angle, which they give us as a 35 inside of there. So if you want to set that from It's actually from this side here, so it's 90 minus 35 to get that angle, so it's 55 inside of there to hit OK. And if you want, notice it is kind of hanging up here at the top, so if you want, you can just draw an extra line to cut that off and just trim that away. The excess geometry there, so that gives us our shape that we want. And we can hit finish. So that gives us our overall shape there. And now we can select both, well, first let's make one to the other side. So I'll just take it, the tri-ball on that top rib feature, move it up here to the center, and I'm just going to mirror and link it to the other side. Now that I have those two, I can select these, all three of these features. So I got those three shapes that I've created. Turn on the tri-ball again, and we're gonna right click and drag again, and we're gonna make a link, in this case 1 at 90 degrees to get that. Now to get the smooth shape, what we're going to do is simply just drag and drop a cut cylinder up here on the top and drop it on here, and it's going to cut everything away, which is fine. But if you want to see what's going on here, if you set that to 33 for the diameter, you see there's extra geometry there. What we're going to do is right click on that, go to the feature options, and we can change that to an outside cut, which will cut everything on the outside of our geometry for us and give us that smooth edge there and give us our result. So that's kind of the way we would like to approach that. So another next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our starters catalog and go to our mechanical tools. So we're going to go to that holes shape and drag and drop it right on the center here. And what we're going to do is create this countersink here. So we can see that here's our countersink. It has a diameter of 16 for the hole itself, and it has a hole depth of 92 because it has remember, it has an R8 spherical end on the top. So we're going to take the -8 from there we'll add that spherical piece to the bottom of this. So we'll set that to 92 for the length, and then we have a countersink of 35 and an angle at 90. So we can set those values inside of there and go ahead and apply that. And it gives us a tri-ball if we want to position it, but we're already in the right location, so we can just leave it there. Next, we'll just go into our shapes catalog. So we'll just go back, and in our shapes catalog, we have a sphere cut. And what we're going to do is drop that on the center. If you can't get to the center, just drag and drop it onto the circular edge and holding the shift key. That will drop it into the center. And you're going to set that to a value of 16 for the diameter, which will give us that 8. So that'll add that 8 millimeters onto the top of that to give us that shape. So that is all it takes to build this model. So if we go onto the model, go to our properties here, and what we're going to change that to 1020 for the density, hit tab. That should give you about 151 for the grams on this model. So very interesting model to build in IronCAD. Again, you only had to go into the sketch just to do some modifications for the angles and some sizing information, but other than that, it's all just drag and drop features in IronCAD to really build this model. So it's just kind of a unique way to build it. Of course, you could build it a different way with sketches. You could do that in IronCAD as well, just trying to show you an alternate way that might be a little bit faster than what you're used to. So hopefully you enjoyed this.